So, how does someone this young start breaking records before most kids are even old enough to drive themselves to the course? To understand that, you have to start with the place where his story first became impossible to ignore. Before the headlines, before the Tiger Woods comparisons, before the PGA Tour invitations, Miles Russell was still just a kid growing up around golf in Northeast Florida. That part is important, because when people hear the word prodigy, they often imagine someone being rushed toward greatness as if every step is part of some master plan. But golf does not usually work that way. Golf exposes people slowly. It finds the weak spots. It takes a player who looks unbeatable one week and humbles him the next. That is why junior results can be hard to trust. A hot month can look like a breakthrough. One trophy can turn into hype. One low round can make people say things they probably should not say yet. But with Miles, the results did not come once. They kept coming. In August 2023, when he was still only 14, he won the Boys Junior PGA Championship. Not by sneaking through the back door. He finished at 18 under par, 266, closed with a final round 67, and won by 7 shots. For most junior golfers, that would be the season. For Miles, it was like the story was just starting. 1 month later, in September 2023, Miles arrived at TPC Sawgrass for the Junior Players Championship. This is not an ordinary junior event. It is played on the Stadium Course, the same place where the best players in the world face one of the most famous finishing stretches in golf. The Island Green at 17 does not care how old you are. Miles opened with a 70. Then came a second round 66, the lowest round of the tournament. By the end of the week, his card read 70, 66, 71, 9 under par, 207 total, youngest champion in event history. And the strangest part was not just that he won, it was how normal he made it look. On a course built to create mistakes, he stayed calm. In a field filled with older players, he looked comfortable. And by the time he walked away with the trophy, junior golf had a new problem. The numbers were no longer just impressive, they were historic. And once a 14-year-old starts making history at TPC Sawgrass, the comparisons become almost impossible to stop. The comparison everyone thought about was Tiger Woods. Not because Miles Russell had won a major, or changed the sport, or done anything close to what Tiger would later do. That would be unfair. Almost nobody should carry that kind of sentence at 15 years old. But the record book forced the conversation. On November 2nd, 2023, the American Junior Golf Association named Miles the Rolex Junior Player of the Year in the boys division. He had turned 15 just 1 day earlier. And with that, he became the youngest boy ever to win the award. Before Miles, the youngest had been Tiger Woods, who won it in 1991 at 15 years, 10 months, and 2 days old. That is the kind of fact that sounds simple until you sit with it. Because Tiger Woods is not just another name in junior golf history. He is the measuring stick, the impossible shadow, the player every young phenom gets compared to, usually too early, and usually with too little care. So what do you do when the record book starts comparing you to Tiger Woods before you can even drive yourself to practice? For Miles, the answer seemed almost boring. He kept playing. And that might be the most interesting part of the whole story. The bigger the attention got, the more ordinary his response looked. No big speech, no sudden change in personality. Just more tournaments, more scorecards, and more people in golf quietly asking the same question. How far can this actually go? By the spring of 2024, that question moved beyond junior golf. In April, Miles entered the LA Cum Suncoast Classic on the Korn Ferry Tour. This was not a junior field. This was a professional tour event, filled mostly with grown players fighting for status, money, and a future shot at the PGA Tour. And standing among them was a 15-year-old amateur. He opened with a 68. Then he shot 66 in the second round. After 2 days, the kid who was still supposed to be learning how to handle pressure had done something no player his age had ever done on that tour. He made the cut. And if you like stories about young athletes changing the timeline before anyone is ready, hit like and subscribe, because Miles Russell's story is moving faster than almost anyone expected. But the weekend made it even stranger. Miles did not just survive. He finished tied for 20th, 14 under par, 270 total. And with that finish, he became the youngest player on record since 1983 to finish inside the top 25 on either the PGA Tour or the Korn Ferry Tour. That is not a cute junior golf headline anymore. That is a teenager walking into a professional event and leaving with a result that belongs in the same database as grown men who do this for a living. Still, the story has to be careful. A top 20 finish does not make someone a finished product. 1 week does not guarantee a career. Golf has seen talented kids before. Some became stars. Some vanished under pressure. Some were remembered more for what people expected than what they actually became. But Miles had done something different. He had taken a junior resume that already looked historic, carried it into a professional event, and made the golf world look twice. 1 week and humbles him the next. That is why junior results can be hard to trust. A hot month can look like a breakthrough. One trophy can turn into hype. One low round can make people say things they probably should not say yet. But with Miles, the results did not come once. They kept coming. In August 2023, when he was still only 14, he won the Boys Junior PGA Championship. Not by sneaking through the back door. He finished at 18 under par, 266, closed with a final round 67, and won by 7 shots. For most junior golfers, that would be the season. For Miles, it was like the story was just starting. 1 month later, in September 2023, Miles arrived at TPC Sawgrass for the Junior Players Championship. This is not an ordinary junior event. It is played on the Stadium Course, the same place where the best players in the world face one of the most famous finishing stretches in golf.
Reactions scrutinized, and from the very beginning of round 1, something felt off. The confidence that had fueled his strong qualifying performances earlier in the summer seemed muted. Drives drifted offline. Tempo looked rushed. The course, unforgiving by design, immediately exposed every small mistake. By the time Charlie reached the 5th hole, what started as a shaky opening had turned into something heavier. Missed fairways piled up. Approach shots came from compromised lies. Instead of attacking pins, he was scrambling just to stay afloat. And Trinity Forest does not reward survival golf. It demands commitment, precision, and emotional control. Charlie had none of that working in his favor that day. When he finally walked off the 18th green, the scoreboard told a harsh story. An 81-11 over par, near the very bottom of the field, around 242nd out of 264 players. For a tournament that many believed could be his breakout, it was a stunning collapse. The statistics only reinforced how rough the day was. Charlie hit just 3 fairways. On a championship setup, that's devastating. Nearly every hole began with trouble. Thick, rough, blocked angles, or recovery shots just to get back in position. His iron play suffered because of it, with shots sailing long, coming up short, or missing badly offline. Birdie chances were almost non-existent, and when he did reach the green, the struggles didn't stop. Charlie averaged 35 putts, a number that instantly kills momentum. Short putts slid past the hole. Lag putts finished uncomfortably far away. 4 double bogeys went on the card, and each one felt heavier than the last. His body language changed. The confident walk fans had seen in earlier events faded into a slow, deliberate trudge. But the most striking part of the round wasn't the score or the stats, it was the silence behind him. Tiger Woods didn't step in. He didn't offer visible advice. He didn't crouch beside greens or whisper encouragement like he had in previous junior events. He walked quietly, arms folded, expression unchanged. Reporters from multiple golf outlets noted the tension. There were no fist bumps, no pep talks, just a father watching his son struggle through one of the hardest rounds of his young life. Several times, Charlie glanced back toward Tiger, not in panic, but in uncertainty, as if searching for reassurance. Tiger gave none, and that silence was louder than anything he could have said. This wasn't Tiger the coach, this was Tiger the witness, allowing his son to experience the full weight of competition without a safety net. Buried inside that painful round, though, were moments that mattered more than they appeared. On the back 9, Charlie made 2 birdies, including a confident putt on the par 3 13th. For a brief stretch, the swing looked freer. The tempo steadied. The crowd leaned back in. It didn't lead to a comeback, but it proved Sommier something important. He hadn't lost his game entirely. The final result stayed an 81. The damage was done. Analysts quickly dissected the performance. Some questioned whether Charlie was ready for this level. Others pointed to the immense psychological burden of carrying the Woods name. What became clear was that this wasn't just a technical breakdown, it was emotional. Mental. The collision between expectation and reality had arrived all at once. For many teenagers, a round like that would linger. It would bleed into the next day. Confidence would evaporate. The temptation to mentally check out would be overwhelming. Charlie Woods didn't do that. When he returned for round 2, he looked different. Not flawless, not dominant, but composed. He found more fairways. His approach shots had better shape and intent. The reckless mistakes disappeared. Most importantly, the emotional spiral was gone. He played golf instead of fighting it. Charlie shot a 74, 3 over par, no double bogeys, no collapse, just steady, controlled golf. In isolation, it wasn't spectacular, but in context, it was extraordinary. After one of the most public struggles of his young career, under the brightest spotlight he'd ever faced, he responded with maturity. It wasn't enough to save his tournament. The cut line for match